Hello, and welcome into my reselling channel, Flippin' Hippos. I'm Star. Today is Wednesday, so we're going to do some motivation today. Today, I want to talk about something I think a lot of resellers really need to hear. And while it might be an unpopular or an unwanted opinion for some of you, I would recommend just hearing me out and listening to what I have to say about this topic. You don't need a huge sale today. You don't need to wake up today, every day, to a $500 sale. You don't need to go thrifting and find some incredibly rare, once in a lifetime item find every time you go thrifting. You don't need $20, $100 sales waiting for you every morning. And you don't need every item in your store to have this huge profit margin. I sometimes think that social media has really distorted what a successful reseller business actually looks like. Because what most resellers are showing folks on the social media, on the highlight reels, is the exciting stuff. That crazy thrift store find. That one item we bought for 50 cents that turned into $400. The giant stack of packages. The huge sales weekend. And there is nothing wrong with sharing those things because they are absolutely worth celebrating and they are fun and they're nice to share. But that's not what most days in a real reseller business look like. Those days happen, those things happen, but not on a daily business. Most days are actually kind of boring. But boring can pay your bills. I say it all the time. Boring pays my bills. Those $20 and $25 sales, even $15 sales, can and do matter, especially if your cost of goods is pretty low. Especially if you have a lot of items listed. Especially if you have any interest in being a volume seller. A lot of resellers will look at smaller sales like they don't count. And I, for one, can attest that a lot of resellers turn up their nose at my kind of business model. Believe me, I've been reselling now for almost 10 years. And I feel like I spend half of my time as a reseller defending my business model to other resellers who just don't get it. And meanwhile, I've been doing this for 10 years as my full-time job because I'm disabled, and I have plenty of other friends who have a very similar or the same business model as me who are very successful. But I still find myself defending my business. Why do you have volume sales? Why do you sell low item stuff? Because my cost of goods is $1 and this is my business model. Constantly defending myself. But if you know, you know. If you also have a similar business model or the similar mindset, then you understand. But there are people who don't. And maybe you understand, but you've been having to defend yourself and you're starting to question yourself. Is this what I should be doing? So that's why I encourage everyone to just listen and hear me out today and take what I have to heart, take what I say to heart, take what I have to say and think about it and maybe tell someone else. Because you don't have to sell a $500 item today. You don't have to go to the thrift today and find something very rare. If you sell something for $15 or $20 and you think to yourself, oh, it's only 15. And then you sell something for 25 and you're like, that's not very exciting. And then you sell something for 18 and you're like, well, but here's the thing, those sales are stacking up. If you have a lot of items for under $30 in your store and they're selling consistently all the time, that is stacking up. And I can tell you from my experience as being a volume seller, for every 15, 20 low-end items that I sell one big ticket. So I have said this before, especially when I'm defending my business model to resellers who look down their nose at me. I can't pay my bills and I can't build a sustainable business on selling one expensive item a month or even finding it. Because remember, whatever kind of business model you have and whatever kind of items you sell, you have to be able to consistently and sustainably source those items. So if you live in an area like I do, where you can find the once in a lifetime expensive item once a year and maybe get 2 in a box twice a year, you can't live on that. But I can load up for very low cost of goods on all these items. And every day I can have a $15 sale, a $10 sale, a 22, an 18, a 16, a 25, a 12, a 10, an 8, a 16 again, a 17. And it just keeps stacking up. And I can absolutely, consistently, and sustainably replenish those resources as they're selling. And those little sales do not look impressive by themselves, but 10 of them, I mean, yeah, they really stack up. And if you do that consistently over and over again, those boring little sales really aren't so boring anymore, because now they're your business. And now all of those little tiny boring sales that are stacking up are paying your electric bill, putting food on your table, paying for your shipping supplies, putting gas in your car, paying for the next sourcing trip, going into a savings account for a vacation, paying for you to go to a concert, any number of things. Whatever your financial goals are, the smaller, consistent sales can be what actually get you there. So stop waiting for the unicorn. Stop waiting for the unicorn. There are resellers, absolutely, who specialize in very rare, expensive items, and that's great. But for most of us, the business is built on what I call the bread and butter inventory. Jeans, shoes, shirts, jewelry, plush, collectibles, housewares, and everyday items that you can find consistently and sustainably to source over and over again and sell over and over again. And it's not necessarily exciting. You will find exciting things once in a while. You are going to find a unicorn. But for the most part, it's those everyday sales, that consistency, that's not exciting, but it will pay your bills. And, you know, no one's going to make a documentary about Star selling jeans for $27 to pay her bills. They're probably going to make a documentary about the thrifter who went, the reseller who went to the thrift and found a $5 million item for a quarter. But the chances of that happening to any of us are very rare. But those jeans that no one thinks is exciting, that I sell, that no one's going to make a documentary about me for, I can consistently find them and cheaply. And then I can list them efficiently and in volume and sell them for profit in volume. And that is a business model. Finding one $500 item involves luck. Building a store that consistently sells $20, $30, and $40 items involves systems. And if you've been watching this channel for any length of time, y'all know how much I love systems. And I will take a good system, a good, sustainable, consistent system over luck any day. I consistently list. And when my sales are so slow, I list. I know some resellers have that mindset of, my sales are slow and I need to go sourcing. No, you don't. No, you don't. You probably have 100,000 things already sitting in your house. Between your desk pile and maybe you could spring clean your house a little bit, you have stuff sitting around. There's plenty of stuff that you can list when your sales are slow. If you're running out, yeah, you do need to go sourcing. But if you're just sitting on your desk piles, it's money that you're just ignoring. So I like to say, think of your desk pile as a pile of money. Would you step around, step over, and ignore a pile of $100 bills on your floor every day? No. If it's inventory and it's not listed, nobody can buy it, nobody can see it. And listen, you already spent the money on it and you already spent the time sourcing it. So now just finish the job, list it, put it away. Doesn't matter if it's boring. Doesn't matter if it's not exciting. List the inventory you have. That's going to be the consistent sales that are going to pay your bills. You have to list it. You can't keep sourcing. I know there's some excitement in sourcing. Allegedly, I hear that from other resellers. Y'all know I don't like to thrift or shop. But there's that thrill of the hunt that a lot of you feel, that dopamine hit, that excitement that everybody chases all the time. But you have got to stop chasing it at some point. Because if you have 1,000 million trillion things in your garage, in your death pile, and you're not listing them because you're always chasing that high and you're always at the thrift store, you are not building a business. I don't know what the heck you're doing. You're becoming a hoarder or something. You got to list what you got. Doesn't matter if it's boring. And keep in mind, boring and consistency will pay your bills. Don't look at items and be like, well, that's only going to sell for 20 items. Find 10 of them and list them. That's $200. Don't let other resellers change your standards. And now this is the big one. And I have had to hang on to this one for 9 years, almost 10 years, and not let other resellers change my standards. Do not compare yourself to others. Don't compare your business to what you're seeing other resellers doing online. You hear people say all the time, well, I don't pick anything up unless I can at least profit $50. Okay, that's your business. It doesn't mean it has to be mine. Maybe I can source stuff for $1 and I'm fine for selling it for 20. Maybe I can get it to the bins and get it for less than $1 if I'm paying by weight. It's incredibly easy to photograph if you pick items that work for you. You know, I have a bad back, other disabilities, they can come into play. But if you source based on your limitations or your abilities, it actually is incredibly easy to photograph items. And listing, I know a lot of people find it boring, but it's incredibly easy, especially these days. There's templates, there's AI, there's cross listers. There's so many things available at our fingertips to help us list more efficiently and faster and do more listings and be more productive. It's so incredibly easy. And when you get those processes in place and realize that, hey, this is actually kind of easy and I can get a lot of listings up, then you're going to be listing more. You have to look at what works for you. So again, don't compare yourself to anybody else. Source what you can sustainably and consistently. Listen, if you can go out to the thrift or the bins every day and come home with truckloads of $100 t-shirts, good for you. Build your business model on that. But if you're like me and you can find truckloads of $20 to $40 items for $1 or $2, bring that home. Build your business on that. Look at your available inventory. Look at your time that you have, your abilities, your limitations, and build your business model around that. And I say all this to say, I've just done a whole video on building a consistent, stable business on bread and butter items that sell in volume, and all of those sales add up and pay your bills. And that is my business model. But if it really doesn't make sense for you, then it doesn't make sense for you. You don't have to have the same business model as me. But I did want to address this because I feel like 98% of resellers that I know have some form of similar business model as mine, where it's just consistently selling those items that the numbers and the profits stack up. And then there's the 2% that will only source items that sell for $1,000, and I look down my nose at you. And I don't listen to those people. I ain't got time for that. I'm busy listing and making money. But do remember that there is not one correct way to resell. For some people, selling fewer expensive items really does make sense. Because for some people, they might have access to really expensive items consistently, or furniture, or mid-century modern stuff, and that makes sense for them. But for most of us, volume is going to be what makes sense. And again, I have lots of friends who are very successful, who do the boring volume method, and it's like, oh, well, it's kind of boring and ho-hum all the time listing American Eagle jeans. But you know what? The money that you make is the exciting part. The fact that you can pay your bills, eat food, and do some fun activities each month and do things that you enjoy. There's where the fun is. But there's room for everybody in reselling. So whichever way you find yourself going, do what's best for you, build a business model that works for you, pay attention to yourself, but don't look down on or speak shittily to people who are different from you. I don't know how else to put that. There's so much room in reselling, and there's so many different ways to resell. And that is one thing that really does grind my gears, is when I see resellers just being rude and talking shit and being condescending to someone who does it differently than you do. Your way is not the only way, and it's not the right way. There is no right way. There are millions of ways to resell. And if what you are doing is working for you and you are happy, that is what is right for you. That may not work for me and may not be right for someone else, but if it's working for you, that's what's right for you. Period. End of story. And just don't get in at it. Like, just be nice to people, okay? Just because you do something one way doesn't mean that that's how everyone has to do it. And keep in mind that those of us that grind away at this volume business are doing just fine. We don't need judgment, because we're the ones that have learned how to stay here, not compare ourselves to anyone else, build a business model that works for us, and just do what works and get those processes in place. But it's not glamorous. It's really not. Consistency is very valuable. Consistency is not very exciting. And whether you are selling high volume bread and butter or you have those more expensive items, at the end of the day, we're all doing the same things over and over and over and over again. We're sourcing, we're photographing, we're listing, storing, and shipping. And you repeat. You source, you photograph, you list, you store, you ship. And you repeat. You source, you photo. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't matter what kind of items you're selling. We're all doing the same amount of work over and over and over and over and over again. And it's not glamorous. It's not very exciting. You're not going to wake up every morning excited to photograph 25 pairs of jeans. Or maybe you do. You don't really have to feel motivated to work your business. You just have to build the habit of doing the work, even when you don't want to. And I've talked a lot about on this channel. You can search my videos. There's probably dozens of videos on the topic of building good habits, building good processes, having good routines, because you don't have to be motivated or excited every day. You can just literally have good habits, good processes, and you're going to do it anyway, whether you want to or not. And always remember your why, what you're working towards, what you need your money for, and that'll motivate you real quick. Your business does not have to always be impressive, okay? This is the biggest takeaway from this video I want you to take with you today. Your reseller business does not have to look impressive to other resellers. Let me repeat that for those of you in the back. Your reselling business does not have to impress anyone else. It doesn't have to look exciting or glamorous to anybody. All it needs to do is work for you. Is what you're doing working for you? Is it paying your bills? Then great. Are you selling $10 jewelry because you can source it cheaply, you list it quickly, and you enjoy sitting there every day watching movies while you list it? Good. That's great. You do you. Your customers don't care what another reseller thinks about your inventory. Your customers don't care if other resellers think you're boring or think you're not exciting. Your customers just care that they can consistently buy what you list and that you have what they're looking for. So always remember, do what works for you. You don't have to impress anybody else. At the end of the day, if it's working for you, then it's right. It might not work for me. It wouldn't be right for me, but that's okay because it works for you. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything you saw in this video, let me know down in the comment section below. Otherwise, just hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Help me feed some hungry hippos. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.